So
Fabulous.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
That's great. Saddles make a big difference. And it's hard in the beginning to know what's right and what's wrong. And if are you uncomfortable because of the saddle, or do you need to adjust your position? But I always tell everybody, if you feel like you're fighting with your saddle, even if it's not going to be the saddle that you need for the future, sometimes we need to move through saddles, and we all want to buy, you want to buy that horse that's going to do everything with you, and you want to buy that saddle that's going to last for, ever. But sometimes it doesn't work like that. So if you feel, your trainer says this is the one you need, or the saddle fitter says this is the one you need, but you don't feel comfortable in it, I really think it's important to get what you feel like you can sit comfortably in and feel balanced and feel like you have a little bit of control of yourself. So that's really fun. I'm so happy for you. That's a huge step. Great. Anybody else have something they want to add?
I've been, whenever I get nervous that my horse is going to spook, I've been practicing telling myself that's not my story and picturing him going past the scary thing in a lovely frame.
And is it working?
Yeah, it is. It's been helping a lot.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I actually was listening to that part. I'm trying to get them edited up on the and then up on the website so that people can, share. And I have some technical difficulties, but I was listening to that. That's not my story this morning, and I just love it that you're saying that resonated with you and it's working for you, because that's something that really changed my approach, because I was taught for a long time that if you're thinking of it, you're creating it. And that kind of freaked me out, because I'm very aware. I see a lot of things that are going on. And I also have a bad habit, but now I think it actually is a good thing. But I always thought of it as a bad thing, as kind of rolling that tape and seeing these scenarios, these possible scenarios. Now, for me, it actually has benefited me a lot for my students, because I can see ahead, and then I can help to divert accidents and things from happening. But when I'm riding, and possibilities of, it could go this way or it could go that way, and I think of something that's not what I want, and I can say right away, that's not my story. It has just changed so much for me, and I'm excited for you that you incorporated that into your day, and I hope it keeps going. And your body listens to that. People think it's like, you're a dreamer, but your body listens to what your mind is telling it to do. And when your mind says, that is not my story, and starts to visualize something different, your body starts taking action on that different thing. What you are seeing, it actually will, work together. So that's why, if we are letting our mind go down and visualizing the wrong thing happening, visualizing the bad things, and then we don't flip it over into the story that we want, our bodies will respond to that other story, the one that we're afraid of. So great, Kayla. Thank you for that. Does anybody else have anything that they want? Because I had a couple questions, and so I want to get to those too. Hello, Andrea. How are you? You have to unmute if you want to answer me. Unmute, unmute. I can't do it for you. We can't hear you. There you go. Oh, now you're gone. All right. It's coming back. You got to unmute. I can't hear you. Push the button for unmute. Technical difficulties. Let me see if I can do it. No, I can't. All right. I don't know if you're trying to share with us, but we can't hear you. All right. Peyton, I do think that you should share something before we get started. Everybody's eager. Oh, there's Andrea. Are you talking to us now, or are you just talking?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
I really loved That's Not My Story, because I didn't hear it. I wasn't here for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, but that's exactly. I don't know. I didn't do it by myself, but in my mind, I have said that to myself, and it absolutely works.
Fabulous. Good, good, good. Yes. Well, it'll be up on the website when I can.
Yeah, I read about it, but anyways, we had a great time at Nationals. Tara rode great. The horse was awesome. Sorry I missed you, and can't wait to be down there.
Yes, yes. I'm sorry I missed you too. You flew out, I flew in, and Tara looked very, very happy. So that was fabulous. And
she's wonderful.
Yeah, and Nick looked very, very happy and proud of himself.
So go on with Peyton, and I'm going to unmute if I can figure out how to do it.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
I got 4th.
Oh, come on. Put a little energy into that.
Was 71.8.
Tell us about your experience. What did it
Well,
feel like to be there?
Well, I wasn't sick when I went this time, so it was much more fun. I loved it. And Bubs was really good. And he was happy to be in a warm barn. And he did really well because it was like really warm when we got there. And then 2 days later, it was snowing. And he was perfect.
Uh-huh. Yes. And what did it feel like? Hi, Carrie. What did it feel like to ride in that at the Nationals? How did it feel?
It felt special. I think also because I was in the open class. And I'm sad that I had to be in the open class kind of, but it was also like cool to do well in the open class. And I know like sometimes it's really competitive because that's when all the people, they bring the fancy young horses and stuff. So I'm happy that some of the judges liked me a lot.
Yeah.
And it was like, it felt good.
Wonderful. All right. Well, what I was thinking is that we have that group, the Facebook group, that some people have been sharing fun things in and other people have been ignoring it. But I was thinking maybe you might want to share your video in there for everybody to see.
Can I share it like from when I posted it on my page? Will it go through? Because Facebook gets very angry at me when I try to post those videos. I
believe that you can go. I can try to do it too, but I would love it if you would.
Yeah.
You just go to share and then go to groups. You have a little icon there that say groups, right?
I think so.
And then, it'll be the loop and you just put put it in there for us, and that would be fun. I think everybody, some people that are far away, they haven't seen you ride, so they might be excited to see it. So I think it would be a great idea. And then if I'm not sure, like Carrie, Andrea, I don't know if you guys are already. They didn't stream Peyton's class. They only.
Yeah, I tried to actually. I was trying to find the video like from the USEF because I like listening to the commentators, and they only did the all tech, which is another thing I think we should talk about at the convention.
Maybe they could do. Maybe they could start streaming 2 rings instead of just 1.
Right. Well, I think they should stream all championship classes.
Yeah, I agree with you. But they do, we have to do things one step at a time, right? But they do have the video coming into the all tech from all of the rings. So if they have the technology to do that, then they should have the technology to send it out, I think.
Right. Well, I mean, they do it at the Festival of Champions. Well, that's run by USEF, not DF. And USEF, they stream both rings. They do all this stuff. And I think USDF should copy some of that. Because I think,
don't know. Are you sure that it's not? I think it's both of them, this one. I think it's both. Not sure. I don't think it's only USDF, is it?
I mean, they have USEF stuff there, but USDF is the main. USEF is kind of into everything, I think, just because of the horses, but USDF is like the main runner. Like they have everyone that works there is for USDF.
Okay.
But then at the festival.
Oh, okay. All right. So Meg said she was watching USEF streaming. So
no, it is supposed to be USEF streaming. Like that's who does all the streaming. USDF doesn't do streaming, but
USDF needs to ask.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just start the conversation. That's all we can do is start the conversation. And one thing is that if you go to your delegates, Peyton, which I don't know who all got voted in this time, but that would be a thing. Maybe Bobby, Carlton, but that would be a thing, is to ask them to represent. Are you going to the convention?
Well, I don't know if I have the time. I would like to go, but.
All right. Well, we just get the delegates on it. We'll see what they can do. It's always hard because you've got to make waves, and sometimes people don't like to make waves.
Right.
So I used to make waves, but then I decided I have to get a little older and start that up again. Right now, I have other things I need to focus on. All right. Awesome. Well, great to hear from you. Congratulations. So proud of you and happy for you. And I think everybody would love to see it. I got to see it live, but everybody would love to see the video.
I will try and post it when Facebook won't be angry at me.
No, they won't be angry. I think it's more.
Well, no, it's not that the video's bad, but the length of it is hard to get through sometimes.
Okay. Huh.
So.
All right. Well, we'll give it a try, and if I don't see it up there, I'll do something too.
All right.
Right. Good. So let's. Did anybody, Meg? Did you? I know you were thinking about it later today because I didn't send that very early. But did anybody think about putting these fixes in some order that would that make sense to them as far as what things that, because I put them just in a random order, just whatever fell in my head, I put it down. But I'm just wondering, did anybody think about it in a way that would be pertinent to them, like in the place where they are in their lives right now? Meg.
I did try. And it was interesting. And I kind of wrote it down by hand because I didn't have time to email you.
Sure.
But I kind of tried, and I'm not sure I have them all accurately, like summing up what all the details of what you put under them, but I tried to break them into like 3 categories of things that I really, really need to work on, and other things that I need to work on, and then things that I feel like I already, maybe I'm not perfect at, but I'm, I don't need to work on as much.
Love it.
And my 3 highest ones that were number 3, get out of your head, because I think that's like 99% of my problem in terms of fear. And if that's where that's not my story belongs, that's totally what I need to adopt. And you said something about note taking, and that's where that's the big thing I wrote down and circled. Even I wrote it down the first week that we talked about it, and circled it last week when we talked about it again, because I need to adopt that attitude. I tend to I visualize the bad, and then I can't get beyond it, and I totally go down that rabbit hole. So that's my number 1 goal, is to work on that. The next one on my list in the high needs to work on category is talk about it. And the first week when you were going through everything, I think the talk about it is really, really hard, because I feel like it's a huge admission to admit that you have fear. And especially, like, I think it's really hard to say that to your trainer, because you're trying to, I want to impress the trainer and impress the other people in the barn, with maybe not with my skills. Like, I'm not sure that those are impressive, but I sure as heck don't want to admit that I'm afraid. And so I think that's a huge, and what I learned too is that when you do kind of admit it, it's like a huge weight off your shoulders, because it's like, and nobody cared. Like, nobody cares. It's like, oh,
I love it.
That was big for me, and something I still need to work on admitting. And then the number 12, working on communicating with the trainer and the horse. I just think that ties in to all of what I just said, like, really being real about it, and not faking it. Like, cause you said something about not being brave. And I feel like I'm faking being brave, and that's, that doesn't get me anywhere. So those are my top 3 to work on.
Great.
Kind of in the middle, these resonated with me as something, it's like, that seemed doable. The top ones seem kind of hard to do. These seem doable, but they're not, like, I don't think of them as soon as I get in the saddle, and I need to remember to. The number 5, remembering my values and acting on them. I think that's really, that was a huge reminder for me, because, sometimes my values get mixed up, just especially at shows. It's like, oh, I do want to be friendly to others. Oh, I do want to do a good job. Oh, I do want to win. And it's like, I felt your discussion of that, of like, pick one and stick with it, and kind of go for that, is really helpful. And I'm going to try to do that going forward. The next one was number 4. Remember, it's the journey, and not to focus on the outcome. And I think that's important to remember, along with the values. I think they tie closely together.
I agree.
And and if you'd said, oh, Meg, do you focus on the outcome? I would say no. But then when I peel back the layers, I think I am focused on the outcome. It's like, oh, I've got to get this score, and, and I get jittered.
And we heard you say in your note to me that I thought my whole weekend was going to be ruined. Right?
Yes.
We jump from one thing, all of a sudden we jump to the end. And it's just so amazing how when we can start to control that a little bit and just take it day by day, step by step, hour by hour, even, and how all of a sudden things seem so much easier and less overwhelming.
Yes. And when you said that last week about like, I didn't even confess, but I had jumped even further. Like, I need to drive home. Do I need to sell the horse? Like, it was so, I know. That's how emotional I got. And with, but because because I was able to get my trainer's help, and she literally turned the whole weekend around for me. So that taught me, hey, I don't need, we're all kind of in this together. And, she wants me to be successful and she has the skills to help and that kind of thing. So that was good. Another one, and I don't think I necessarily have my head completely around this one, but ramping up my energy to match the horse's energy. Because I do think I do the exact opposite. I'm like, I'm calm, you be calm. We're all calm. And he's like, no, I'm not. And we don't. So I got to learn how to ramp up my energy for his sake. The pressure, gets pressure, let the steam out. I need to recognize more when he needs to let his steam out so I can make that happen for him, as opposed to saying, oh, let's be calm. And he's bubbling over and I'm like, no, calm. So that's on my list here in the things I need to work on. Learning my body's reaction to fear. I think along with that, I need to kind of learn some skills to direct it in a positive way. So I definitely know my reaction to fear. Like I can, I start feeling my stomach, and my reaction to fear is the exact same thing as if you're on an airplane and it starts to have turbulence and all the people start gripping the seat. That's how I feel if my horse starts to get nervous. Then I start to have that airplane reaction, and I need to learn some skills to direct that energy instead of just like letting my mind go out the window.
Excellent.
And then training him to the basic aids. I think we're on our way to that. I think we have a good, we have some good basics down, and we've been together for a while. So he's not a new horse. We know each other, but remembering to use them when I start to feel the nervousness and the airplane reaction, get his attention and put him on the basic aids and let him boil up a little bit and get it out of his system. Then my last things that I kind of think I have a better handle on, the learning awareness. I guess this can be taken. I mean, we were just talking about that. That ties in with getting out of your head. Like I have pretty good awareness. Like, my radar is up to see potential problems and address them before they become a problem. And that's the positive. But then also it can be the negative of, oh gosh, I also see the flag flapping in the wind and I bet he's going to get scared of that. And then I start down that rabbit hole. So my awareness kind of cuts both ways, and I just need to control that. Expect number 13, expect the horse to do what I ask him to do. I actually do, I don't have an issue with that. When I ask him to do something, I expect him to do it, and he usually does it. That's why probably I don't have too much concern about that one. That I don't need to keep up appearances. I don't worry about what everyone else is thinking. Like I don't worry about like spectators, but I do worry about like keeping, doing a good job in front of my trainer. like I want, you know, and maybe other people in the barn. So I can temper that a little bit, but I'm totally not worried about, like, I don't even think about the other people that might be watching. So I've got that part under control. And then allowing the trainer to warm up my horse. You know, after that situation that I talked about last week, you know, that became more of a reality to me. It had never occurred to me before that. And now that I experienced the good side of that, I would be, you know, I'm ready to use that tool out of the toolbox if I need to. So that's the whole list, I think.
I love it. I love it. And I hope that you're tackling that, and the way you tackled it is going to inspire other people to do that as well, because I think that was very thoughtful how you worked through that, because I think it was a little bit of a challenge what I asked. And I love it how you looked at it and how you articulated it. And I hope that our other friends here might, and I need to send you, I'll send you all the notes, because that was one thing that I didn't do. But go through it, because it's a little bit of an awareness about ourselves. And then all of this is a lot. So if you can break it down like that, this is what I want to work on. This is going to be my kind of my big rocks, basically the most important things. I have a handle on this. I kind of got that going on, but this is not working for me at all. And I love that, Meg. Thank you so much for being so open and honest about it all too. I love it. Did anybody else want to add to what Meg had to say before we keep going?
I just think Andrea's here. I think that was very, very well spoken and very good feedback and information. And I thank you for that, Meg.
Great. Thank you. Wonderful. All right. So anybody else? Can't see. All right. So I am going to read. We had two. Well, I think that Dana's question is probably a good one to go to, just because Meg touched on this too, which is having the trainer warm up the horse. I agree with this wholeheartedly and think it's really important, but it's also confusing. For me, one of the biggest goals is to get to know Birdie, to know how in the moment to proactively approach a situation and then appropriately respond to the situation. If I give her to me or to Anna, when I'm scared, how do I build on this goal? And how do I safely learn to have the same seemingly fearless approach that you and Anna would have if you get on? I am always in awe. So I think this is another great point that Dana has. And we did talk about it a little bit yesterday, but the thing is that we are always training our horses, right? Oh, there's Olivia. Hello. We're always training our horses. Whether you guys like it or not, you're training your horses all the time when you're working with them on the ground and when you're riding them. And they need to know the right responses to the aids that we give. And we need to know what is it supposed to feel like when they do the right thing. So sometimes you can be doing things right, but your horse is not responding correctly. And you might lose your confidence in that moment, or you might not stay on that track. You might think you have to say it in a different way. Whereas we are going to say, look, this is how I ask you to stop or go or turn. And we're going to ride it through until the horse gives us the right reaction. And then the horse is going to find that place, find that reward. We're going to be able to go on. We're going to be able to repeat that. And then when you get on, when you ask for something, the horse is going to confidently say, I know the answer to that question. I know how to respond. And it's going to go over a period of succession where we might have to get on to get you out of trouble. There might be other times when we see clearly that the horse is just simply giving bad reactions, and we can kind of train it through that. And then you can get on and get that good feeling. There's going to also be times where we see that there is a little misunderstanding, and we're going to help you step by step how to do what we do. But then we're, as a trainer, we are going to analyze each situation and set you up the best that we can, set the horse up the best that we can for success. So if I am seeing a student that is a little bit frozen, and then I see the look in the horse's eye, like, I'm not sure, I don't know what's going on, and I feel like I can bridge that gap, then I'm going to try to help. And there's other ways that we can do that also beside getting on. But sometimes getting on is really going to be move you forward exponentially, because when you get back on, you're going to feel a different response, a different horse under you. And it's all going to be in the period of that one training session. So it used to be that I would think if my horse came out in a certain way and feeling in a certain way, that that's how the whole ride was going to be. And now I realize that with thoughtful training, I can influence my horse into being more of the horse that I want it to be toward the end of the ride than it was in the beginning of the ride. And, when I was a younger, less experienced rider, okay, well, they came out a little bit stiff today, or a little bit high today, or a little bit, lacking focus or spooky or whatever. And you kind of get yourself ramped up and ready to have that ride that the horse is bringing. And now I realize that, with the groundwork, that's going to tell me a lot about how my horse's body is and how they're setting themselves up for the day. And then when I get on, I'm going to know already that it's not only about me. I'm not the one causing some of these feelings, which is the first thing that we do. I'm doing it wrong. I must be making him feel, right? We just, all of these things we think right away. But now we get out of bed some days. We don't feel great. We might feel a little lack of energy or a little bit stiff. Why can't the horses feel like that? So I have a lot more in my toolbox as far as ways to manage those kind of days where, I can be sometimes the cheerleader. Sometimes I have to be a little bit more a taskmaster. Sometimes we're going to just say, okay, your body is like, a little bit stiff today. I don't know what you did, or maybe we did a little too much yesterday, or after the trip, when we come down here, the horses come out of the trailer. They have a couple days off, and they don't always start out like all, loose and feeling as good as they felt when we left. But how can I influence that ride to bring out the horse that I want at the end of the ride. This is something that I have a lot of experience now with, and you guys have a little less. So this is something that we can, you get on, you have this feeling, you can't do anything with it. Somebody gets on, they work through it, you watch them work through it, and then you get on and you also feel the results. So now you know that in one ride you can go from that to that without too much drama, because your trainer, worked the horse through it with tools that we've learned, over a long period of time with a lot of different types of horses. And sometimes we can still make mistakes. Of course we can. But when you get back on and you touch this and it works, and you touch that and it works, you just get the feeling of what we are looking for. When I would ride in clinics, I rode in clinics and people would get on my horses. Really, Stefan, when Stefan, I would get on after Stefan, and I would be like, I don't even understand that. Like, I thought the horse was feeling pretty good. I get on after he's been riding, and I'm like, whoa, okay, now we're talking. I got some work to do, but I had a new bar. All of a sudden, I had a new bar that I could work toward every day, right? My horse, I thought it was already feeling good. Now there's this whole new level of feeling good, feeling on my aids, feeling through. The same, I had the super opportunity to have Kira Kirkland ride, my horse, in that it's the way that she broke things down. She was very complimentary, and they're super like, okay, you're doing a great job, but also we can do this can start to work better, that can start to work better. And so in one way, I think it's also, how does the trainer approach it? I've had trainers get on my horse and I didn't feel good about it after. The way that they rode them, and then the way the horse felt, I didn't actually feel better necessarily to me. The way that they approached the horse about the work might not have been just totally the way I wanted it either. This can happen too. But I've had more really great experiences. And then that's where you need to know, in your heart, what you want and how you want it to feel. And is that working for you? Is that, you've got to try it. And if you didn't feel better when you got back on, a horse didn't feel better for you, that's a whole nother subject. And that can happen too. So I love that. I love that question. I hope that helps, Dana, and anybody else. But it's all what would happen from, I can get on and I can make the horse where you can feel things better, or I can work through, be a little more dominant maybe in a situation without being aggressive, but just kind of a little bit more calm, kind of, this is what we're doing here, even though the horse is distracted. Or we could fine tune some of the aids so that the horse is responding quicker and in a bit nicer way for you, so you get a better feeling that you don't have to manipulate things. And that it's going to go step by step. There's going to be, after we do that a little bit, there's going to be times where we're going to push you to find that. And then and Crystal can speak for that. A lot of times I will have to get on and say, okay, wait a minute, let me see what's going on, let me see what you're feeling, so that I can help you better. And then if it might be, sometimes I have to sort things out for a little while, and then it might be a couple of days where I could say, okay, come on now, let's ride through that. You start stressing yourself a little bit more. You see if you can find what I find in there too. But I think it has to be on a way that you really are going a little bit step by step, and that we don't challenge you. Anything I ask a student to do, I believe in my heart that they can do. I'm never going to present you with an exercise or something that I feel that you can't do. But there are times when the student doesn't feel that they can do it. And so sometimes, that then I also feel that the horse is kind of an innocent bystander in the middle of that kind of a thing. And then I can I can connect the dots for the horse, and then the horse can start participating with us in that learning process, because the horses can really help us to get over some of these things that we need to get over in our when we get mixed up, when we let ourselves be too much in the head and that kind of thing. I think the horses can really help us to move through that. So step by step, but I think awesome question. Thank you very much for that, Dana. And then I had one other one, which I don't believe she's here, but Mandy asked, and this is a question that a lot of, I have no doubt that we've all felt this, and it's a good conversation. We might have brought it up a little bit last week, but when 4-year-old mare that is sticky underneath the saddle, not super keen to go forward, and the rider, Mandy, is careful, mindful of not having it blocked in the hand when she's given the forward aid, mostly leg, but also can be voice, sometimes the whip, and she pushes back toward the stop when she's asked to go forward, and she's worried if I pressure her that she becomes blocked and stiff, and she doesn't want to reinforce the negative behavior. And what I love that she says, she tries turn on the forehands and releasing to encourage the forward, but still feels like it only ends up on her terms. She does try to do a lot of groundwork, but it's not translating under the saddle. So this is a great question, and a lot of people, I think, can identify with this, especially on a young horse where you can have like 2 gears, right? Stop and then no control. So you're afraid a little bit to do too much and then get that all of a sudden, whether it's, bucking around or taking off around, scared of the rider because the horses are young and they're still acclimating to the saddle. So I have a couple of things that I feel that a horse like this needs to be taken back to the groundwork without the tack and really worked without the tack in the rope halter and understanding the going aid and the waiting and the stability of the legs when being asked to move through the groundwork, which, of course, if I'm there and I'm helping her personally, that makes a big difference. And I will encourage her to send me some videos. Then what I do is I actually do all the groundwork. This could all happen in the same session, or depending on the horse, it might be several sessions. But no matter what, even if I've worked it in the halter with no saddle for several days, and I get the feeling that I want, and I feel that the body is moving congruently, like as a unit, not this and that and sticky and locked in the back, but as a unit, that the horse is moving through its body. We put the saddle on, then I want to create that same effect with the saddle on, with the rope halter, with trotting and cantering and leg yielding and the pattern and all these kind of things until the horse is absolutely the same comfort level as it was without the saddle. This is important. Now, if you can't get there, then we need to check out, is the tack fitting properly? And is the horses have some kind of restrictions in its back where when you put the saddle on, the spines of the back are feeling uncomfortable or the shoulders are feeling uncomfortable. You should be able to get the same freedom in the horse with the saddle on as with the saddle off. And this is really important. I think it's a point that people sometimes miss. And it can happen that you break a horse in and the horse is accepting the tack 100%. And then it goes through a period of not accepting the tack for different reasons. It could have grown into a way where the tack is not fitting anymore. It could have sore muscles. It could have gotten a sore back from any reasons. Doesn't even have to be having to do with riding. So we have to check in on that all the time. But if you're riding and your horse doesn't want to go anymore, but it used to be fine, then you have to step it back again, check it out without the tack. Tristan and I laugh about that. Well, you know, we're riding. And then one day we take the horse out and, you know, do it on the line with nothing on it. And you're like, whoops, you know, my horse is not looking perfect on the legs anymore. You know, but we can ride the horse's sound too, right? We can create that. So if a horse starts to complain under the tack, there might be something feeling a little bit bad. So I back it up and I look at it, you know, on the lunge line or in the rope halter, get everything working again in the saddle. If I cannot get it loose in the saddle, I check out the saddle, I check out the horse with the vet, whatever. And then I'm going to put the bridle on and I'm going to put the rope halter over the bridle and I'm going to do everything again and see if just the idea of the bit is causing a little bit of stuckiness. And then I'm going to create that nice loose horse. That way, then I can take the rope halter off. I can do that work a little bit with the reins also. Okay. So I have this whole process. Now I can do that. That can take a week or that can take a day. It depends on the horse. And sometimes it's going to take a couple days without the saddle, then a couple days with the saddle, then a couple days with the saddle and the bridle. You know, I don't rush things. I can take my time. And then when I really feel, then when that day I'm going to ride it, I'm going to do the same. I'm no saddle, bridle with the halter, and then take the halter off. And now I've got a horse that I can ride and it's comfortable. Now I've got to put the weight on the back. But the horse should know about going and stopping, and it should accept the aids through the body because of the groundwork. And then when I get on, I can do the pattern in the saddle. And if I can do the pattern, then I'm going to go about my merry way. And I'm going to hope that the horse is accepting me and understanding the work. Now, if it's a horse that I'm just breaking in, I might have somebody helping me. We might be starting on the lunge line. If it's a horse I've been riding for a while, but it just became sticky, then I have to make that determination. Do I need somebody to come from behind, you know, with the stick a little bit to help it? One of the worst things we do to these young horses is we grip with our upper legs. Upper legs shut down the back. Okay. So we remember from a couple of weeks ago, we were showing, or a month ago, we were showing that picture of where the lungs are underneath your legs, right? So in order for the horse to go forward, it needs to expand in the rib cage, expand in the back, push out into the leg. So if we're a little bit tight, a little bit nervous, about what's this young horse going to do, then we might be tighter than we want to. We want to open the upper leg and remember our safety seat. Okay, so the heels down, knees in the knee block. That should be ready at any time. But when we're asking the horse to go forward, we want to try to have, as much as we can, that idea to move the horse forward, but not be gripping the knees and the upper legs in tight. Okay, so that they can grow up and out into the saddle. The other thing to remember is you don't have to have contact on the bit for the horse to be blocked by the bit. So when it's important that the horses understand to give to the bit, which is why we do the groundwork, because we use the halter to teach them that something in front, the halter, can affect the hind legs. And then we turn that into the bit. Then when I do the pattern with the bit, something in front is talking to the hind leg. I touch this and your hind legs need to change. Okay, I touch the side with my fist, the hind legs need to change. The horse has to get in front of me. And then I balance those aids, that leg and that rein. So if I touch the rein, just in general, not riding, and the horse has stiffness, and I don't work that through to suppleness, then just the idea of the bit is blocking the horse. Okay? So we need to work that out. When you don't feel that the groundwork is making it to the saddle, then you're not getting that idea through well enough, and we need to get better at the groundwork. And then do the groundwork with the saddle and bridle on also, and get that jaw a little bit supple from that bit, and get that horse to give to the it's not just about the neck giving, but the neck does have to be allowing the bit through. The jaw has to be allowing the bit through. The back of the horse, the shoulders of the horse have to let the bit through. So if they think, oh, bit, block, then your pushing is just making them uncomfortable. And that's why horses bully, okay, is because they know mentally they're supposed to go forward. People have beaten them and pushed them forward, no matter what the feeling is in the front. And so horses will bully. And that feeling that they're bullying is a bad feeling. Yes, ma'am.
It's
Are you
Andrea here.
unmuted?
Am I here? Am I
Hi.
talking?
You're talking.
All right. Mr. Schumacher, the path to the hind legs is always through the neck and the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Just that little tidbit about the whole thing
Yes.
about being through.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Yes. Thank you. But the point is that we need to realize is that when the reins are looped and you have no contact, that does not mean that your horse is not blocked in the neck. It does not mean that it's not blocked in the bit. It can still have a mental attitude that the bit is something to be defended against, because the horse doesn't understand what the bit means. So in the beginning, what we need to do is associate the bit more with the legs. Get the feeling that when you touch the bit, the legs are changing, and give because the legs are changing, and there will become relaxation in the neck. And then you can start to connect a little bit more and have a little bit more feeling in the rein. But when you ask the horse to change the feet, the horse changes the feet, you change the pressure in the bit, the horse will become more relaxed and mentally understand what the bit means. But if we don't work through the bit, if we don't teach the horse what the bit means, they're going to bully through it. Okay? They know we kick, we push, we whip. They know they have to go forward. They're going to block, and they're going to hold that bit tight in their teeth, and they're going to go forward no matter what we're doing with the reins, which is a lot of the reason why you see these trainers having to get skinnier bits, ride more in double bridles, do these weird nose bands and things like this, is because they don't take a minute and just teach the horse about a point of giving in. Okay, so when this is something you can work on in the groundwork, we're going to work on it in our riding. But when you have a young horse and the groundwork is not transferring to the saddle, then I would go back, like we just talked about, go back to the beginning. And perhaps there's a physical thing and we need to work that out. Is there something going on in the back? Even once you get on, if the horse was accepting the saddle but not accepting your weight, so then we might check in. Is the horse's back okay? Is the horse physically okay? Is the saddle too tight? Maybe the saddle's loose without us sitting on it, but all of a sudden it sits in behind the shoulders or something like that and makes the horse uncomfortable. So we're always going to check those things out. But then we want to make sure that it's really understanding, mentally understanding. Those horses will start to do things before you even ask them to, so that they don't have to give that difficult part in their body. So once you go through the pattern and we teach the horses the pattern, then all of a sudden, and Crystal with her horse, because she's so sensitive and super, super smart, she will do that. She'll just start doing it all by herself. You don't even have to do a thing, right? Except what is she doing? She's giving in the parts of her body that are easy for her to give in. And she's not allowing Crystal to get in there and work at getting the other parts, getting her back a little bit more loose and things like that. So Crystal needs to change it up a little bit, put a little pressure here and there, and require that Brooke allows her to ask for what she wants and doesn't just start, oh, we do this now. Oh, here we go. We do this now. We do this now. Because sometimes that'll prevent you from being able to change the way the horse's body feels. And that can also be, sometimes we have to get in there and niggle that neck and niggle that jaw and do these kind of things before we get on, so that the horse has a little bit better idea about the bit. So hopefully that helps. I think we had some great questions, and I really appreciate the questions because it gets us a little bit deeper into the subject, but also staying on what you guys need from this, what you want, not just what I think you want. So I love the questions. Thank you so much for them. I will forward everybody the notes. So if anybody else wants to take the challenge that Meg took, I think that would be fun, and we can bring that forward. Now, next Wednesday is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So probably we should wait till the following Wednesday. So that gives you 2 weeks to try to let's see, to try to get that done. My goodness, it's going to be the 30th already. Wow. All right. So we will reconvene on the 30th, and I will wish you all happy Thanksgiving. I hope, and I'll see Olivia tomorrow. Does anybody have anything they want to add before we sign out? Okay. Happy Thanksgiving. Great. Thank you. Thank you. And if you are on Facebook and you're not a friend of mine, then friend me, and then I will invite you to the loop. And feel free to put stuff in there too, wins and questions or inspiring things, because it's fun. And then we can use that a little bit more in between. I love it. So have a great couple weeks, you guys. Happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for showing up. All right. Good night.